Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Get Involved in Summer Research information session presented by the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, or UROP, as you might know us. My name's Anna. I am a UROP advisor. My pronouns are she, her. And also, if you've heard of the Research Discovery Program, I'm also the Research Discovery Program coordinator. You can find my email there in case you all have any questions after this information session is over. And I will hand it over to Sepper to introduce himself briefly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sepper. I'm a fourth-year chemistry major and one of the Europe ambassadors representing the School of Physical Sciences. My pronouns are he, him, and yeah.
Thank you, Sepper.
Of course.
All right, so as we're here to talk about getting involved in summer research opportunities, first of all, we want to talk about what is research. And I'm sure a lot of our students probably have a lot of great ideas and some already preconceived notions about what research is. But here at Europe, we like to break down, research into 3 steps. The first one being identifying a challenge. You identify your challenge, you figure out how to resolve that challenge, and then you go ahead and resolve it. Pretty easy when you think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and give us an example as well so that you can see that all of you are engaging in research every single day of your lives. It is definitely true that here at UCI, some of you might engage in research in a more professional setting, something that's more related to academia or possibly your future careers. But like I said, research is everywhere and you all are very, very capable of doing it. So engaging in research every day, what could that look like? In this example, maybe the challenge that you are facing is that you're hungry. Maybe you've had a full day of classes and you're just ready to go get a snack. So you've identified that you're hungry. That's your challenge. So the way that you figure out how to resolve it is by Googling food near me. You go ahead and get a whole list of just restaurants in the area. And then the way that you resolve that is by finding a place that you want to eat and going to go get that food. So you've resolved that issue of being hungry through this research process that you've engaged in. Like I said, research can look a little bit different in different settings, but you all are engaging in research every single day. And that's something that I want to highlight throughout this presentation is that you are all very capable of continuing to do research, even in these more applied settings. Now, we are going to be talking a lot about how to get involved in research, right? But first of all, why would you even want to do research? All of you watching this video, hopefully you will want to be doing research, but let's go over some of those benefits and why you would want to engage in undergraduate research here at UCI. First of all, hands-on experience is a really big motivator for a lot of our students. Of course, you're getting lots and lots of knowledge in the classroom, but you don't get too many places where you're allowed to kind of apply that knowledge. And so research can be a place for you to do that. Transferable skills. There's a lot of transferable skills that come with doing research, and a lot of other institutions, possibly those of you looking at grad school or just going straight into careers, will see your research experience as a place where you're gaining those transferable skills. Possibly communication skills, writing skills, the ability to better your public speaking, different things like that. Real world applications. A lot of us are motivated by the implications that our work can have, the impact that we can have on others. And so for those who are really motivated by that, the idea of those real world applications are really great to think about. I touched on this briefly, but applying that classroom knowledge, even if it's not super hands-on, you can always kind of refer back to those little things that you might have been really excited about in the classroom. You didn't get to dive further into those in that, maybe 1 hour class that you had with your professor. So engaging in research where you can actually use those little bits of knowledge that you were excited about is another reason that people like doing research in undergraduate. And possibly my favorite, collaborating with others. I think that it's such a great place to be able to learn communication skills, collaboration skills. The ability to work with other people is going to serve you in tons of settings, not just research settings. So again, kind of touching on transferable skills once again. After you've seen all of these benefits, you may be thinking to yourself, is research right for me? Maybe this hasn't quite convinced you just yet. So, Sepper, I kind of want to ask you, what specific benefits have you gained so far from your personal research experience?
Well, some of the benefits, specific benefits that I've gained from research are being able to apply and integrate my knowledge beyond classroom into research, and as well as networking with professors and other researchers. For example, recently I met with Dr. Larry Overman, who has a chemical reaction named after him, and also a Nobel Prize winner that was a grad student at UCI, Dr. David Macmillan. Finally, getting a good letter of recommendation is a must from my PI for my dental school applications. So these are some of the benefits I've gained from research, and I'm looking for that letter of recommendation.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Sepper. Thank you so much for sharing. All of the points that he just made are definitely adding to those benefits that we mentioned before, and especially with that letter of recommendation, that building connections and collaboration with others. So with research, you might be interested, in what your options are now that you've learned the benefits. And I want to share with you all the general kind of research models that we look at when we think about it. First, joining a faculty lab. A lot of students kind of have this idea of being in a lab when they think of research. That is going to sometimes be the case. So some fields might be more well structured to have that sort of lab model. You think of, biology, engineering, chemistry, things like that. But I do also want to highlight that there are labs in other fields. You can find faculty labs in other places, other majors, social sciences, social ecology, humanities. It is common to find labs in other fields, and also they might not use the word lab. You could also look at it as a research group. Maybe in the arts, you have a group that you're doing research with. That's definitely a possibility. That other model that we're looking at is an independent project. Again, there are certain fields that lend themselves very well to independent projects, but that's not to say that you can't find them in all fields. Even if labs are more common in STEM, you also commonly find individuals engaging in independent projects under their PIs. And possibly, in again, the arts, the humanities, you might see someone working on an independent project with just their mentor. So the difference here being that in a faculty lab, the PI or the professor usually will have some sort of challenge that they're trying to resolve if we think back to our previous slides. And the rest of the group is trying to answer the question that the professor has or that challenge that they're trying to get at. Whereas in an independent project, you might find yourself kind of structuring that challenge yourself and then working with a mentor to kind of resolve that challenge. And it doesn't necessarily involve a big group like that. Like I mentioned, both still involve a faculty mentor. So here at Europe, and we'll touch on this a little bit later, if you are going to be applying to any opportunities within Europe, they do typically involve a faculty mentor. We can also talk about some different types of compensation when you are working either in an independent project or in a faculty lab. Academic credit and pay are two of the more common compensations that you'll see, and there are different kinds. Most students, when they're looking for academic credit, will be enrolling in, some type of 199 or other 190s course. Or if you're looking to be paid for your work, there are different options for that as well. Work study, LAPE, and also research grants that the professors get themselves are options. But I definitely want to highlight that you'll want to have a conversation with your mentor, with your academic counselor, or whoever else is, a resource for you, to talk about what your particular situation is and whether that's possible for you. So again, those open communication skills are coming in handy. How much time should you be spending? So we are talking today about summer opportunities in particular. And right now we're going over those on-campus summer opportunities. But typically you can expect to work anywhere from 10 to 30 hours a week in the summer. And the reason that there's such a big range for that is because it's going to vary a lot depending on the kind of work that you're doing, but also on your professor's personal preferences and also how you're getting compensated for that work. During the school year, you can expect roughly around 12 to 15 hours a week. Again, a little tighter of a range, but that is generally how much we see students working. I do want to stress that it can vary quite a bit, again, depending on your personal situation and what type of work you're doing, maybe even where in this research process you are currently. So this is definitely just a loose guideline to help you all understand generally how much work you're signing up to do. Most professors are also going to ask that you at least stick around for a school year, so a total of 3 quarters. This is, again, not a hard kind of rule or anything like that, but most professors will prefer that you stick around for at least that amount of time. Some are going to be open to having you around for less time, and some are going to ask that you stick around, be very happy that you commit to their lab for longer than 3 quarters so that you can get that experience. So have a conversation with your faculty mentor about how long you're willing to commit to working with them and what kind of work you'll be doing during that time. Keeping in mind how much you'll be working, how long you might want to commit to these types of opportunities, you should be thinking about when you want to get started. And that is going to vary a little bit from person to person. So unfortunately, we can't give you a straight answer on when you should get started. That is just going to be whenever you're ready. Whenever you feel that you can commit to this work, that is when you should get started. Here's some questions to ask yourself, though, if you aren't sure what kind of timeline you're looking at. Think to yourself, do I have time in my schedule? Do I want to clarify any of my goals or plans? How long do I want to do this? And maybe even how long before I graduate. Some professors will be open to having students stay for longer than they are students at UCI. So even after you graduate, they might want to keep you around, but some professors won't be open to that. And so again, having a conversation with your faculty mentor. And also for our transfer students, this is going to be a really big question to be asking yourself, because if we only have about 2 years or maybe a little more, a little less, this could affect your timeline, maybe more than someone that has some more time. So something to keep in mind when you're planning out your schedule for the next couple quarters. Like I mentioned, you definitely want to consult an academic advisor in your department to determine if any academic requirements also affect your research timeline. So when we're thinking of academic credit or any particular classes that you will have to take at a certain time, your academic counselor will always be the best person to ask about those kinds of things. So Sepper, when did you decide to get started with your research at UCI, and why did you choose that time to get started?
So I was at community college, and my sister, who was a UCI alumni, suggested that I should get started with research as soon as possible because it is very beneficial in the case of making my graduate school application stand out compared to other applicants. Most of the graduate schools look for students who with skills that research can't equip them with, and by showcasing your skills and enthusiasm to have a good impact on the world through research, you have a better chance of getting into uh, your graduate school, your dental school, medical school, or any type of graduate school you're planning to go to.
Yeah, as Sepra highlighted, when graduate schools are looking at applications or even possible career paths when you're applying, they might look for those skills that you acquired during your time doing research. So giving yourself the most time possible can also very much be to your benefit, as Sepra highlighted. So thank you so much for sharing. Now, when we are thinking of getting started in research, I want to break this down a little bit for us into a 3-step process that we can follow. The first being figuring out what you want to do, then figuring out who you want to do that research with, and then figuring out how do I get involved, right? So our first step, what do I want to do? This is oftentimes going to be the hardest step for some of our students. Trying to narrow down what exactly it is you want to do with your research is, a little bit tough for some of us. Some points that I'd like to ask yourself: what topics interest you from your classes? That is a great place for a lot of us to start when we're thinking of topics that we might want to spend a lot of time researching, right? We want to make sure that you enjoy the work that you're doing. Um, and if we don't really know what topics interest us in our classes, you can also ask yourself, why did I choose my major? A lot of us will choose a major based off of something like trying to follow a topic that we really enjoy or that we find interesting in some way. We typically have some questions that we want answered, and so we think, let's go major in that. What do we want to learn more about? Again, kind of touching on that classroom knowledge, but more so what interests you about it? Maybe what aspects of it do you want to learn more about? What are UCI faculty researching? So in your search for topics, you can also see, what are UCI faculty up to? We have a lot of really great faculty who have a huge range of interests, and there really is something for everyone. So as you're looking at those profiles, and I'll touch on how to find those profiles a little later, but as you're looking through them, you want to kind of see what people are up to and whether any of that research kind of sparks some interest or some joy in you. And that could also be a good topic to kind of continue researching. I do also want to point out that you can do research outside of your major. We have tons of students doing interdisciplinary work or just, going to a completely different school or department to kind of fulfill those interests that they are wanting to research. So definitely don't feel like you're just tied to your major in this sense. Our second step, who do we want to do research with? So there are going to, in this situation, be a lot of faculty that we are going to be looking at. And so I would recommend making a list of faculty who interest you. You could do an Excel sheet or a Google Doc, find some way to keep the information organized, but definitely make that list of faculty first. A way that you can do that is by going to faculty that someone that you have for a class. You can go to office hours and talk to them about their work and whether or not you might want to work with them on their research or have them guide you on your research. You can also look at faculty profiles. Our faculty profile system is the only place at UCI where you can use a search engine to look up every single research bio that exists in the UCI faculty. I will say this is a great place to get started because it will give you a bunch of different professors to look at. But I want to stress that it's a good place to get started. Not all of the information is the most up to date. It is up to all professors to kind of update that info as they see fit. So you definitely want to do a little bit more research after you find someone on the faculty profile system, because it's going to be the broadest amount of information that you'll get. So as you're creating that list, maybe you've got a pretty big number of professors, but then as you research them further, possibly using the departmental websites, you'll start to narrow that list down. So you definitely want to take a look at multiple avenues of finding those that type of information that you're looking for. Once you kind of create that list that you're looking for, you're going to research them. And you've already kind of started this process, right, by looking at those department websites, the department faculty pages. But you can also use Google Scholar. Go ahead and just type it right into Google Scholar, look at their work, look at their most recent work. I really would recommend looking at their recent work because it's going to be a better reflection of what their current research interests are. It is very possible that some faculty will kind of sway with their research interests over the amount of time that they've been here at UCI. So you want to see what they're currently up to right now. And some people also have personal or lab websites. So as you're looking on faculty.uci.edu or on the departmental pages, you might see that they link to a personal website, and that'll give you a lot more information about their work, what they're up to, possibly what students are already working with them. You can kind of see if they would be a good fit for you and what information you might need to ask them about. So Sepper, I want to ask you, now that we've gone over all this information about how to find a faculty mentor on campus, how did you find your research opportunity?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have a connection with the professor that I do research for through my organic chemistry professor at my community college. So I contacted Professor Dong at UCI. I went to her website. She has her own website. And I expressed my interest towards her research by reading some of her papers and pointing out what I liked about the papers. And most of these papers from her research that has been done under her name. So by showcasing my interest towards her research, I express how I wanted to do research with her.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So awesome explanation from Sepper about how those connections and, communicating with your professors can get you some really cool research opportunities. And that brings me to step 3. How do I do it? So we mentioned some professors will have applications on their websites, or they'll have some personal websites that you can kind of click around and, send an application into. But if they don't have those personal websites and all you find is some information about them on their department website or through their Google Scholar, how do you reach out? We recommend sending an email. Oops, sorry. And by sending that email, the purpose is to go ahead and reach out for an appointment. We definitely want to stress that you don't want to send like an email where it's just saying, oh, do you have an opportunity for me? That email should be with the goal of creating some sort of connection with that professor, getting to know them a little bit better, and having them get to know you a little bit better so that, as Sepper mentioned, you can have that connection that will lead to that research opportunity that will probably be a pretty good fit for you if you were able to build a good connection with this professor. So Sepper, what did you do in your interview process with your faculty mentor?
So my interview process was pretty casual. She wanted to see if I'm genuinely interested in research, and most professors look for enthusiasm and excitement in their students, and they choose the ones that are interested in research because they want to learn and dig deep into a specific topic. So that's it's basically just the professors trying to understand if that student is actually enthusiastic, want to do research, want to explore the unknown. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As Sepper highlighted, most professors will share with us that an extensive resume is not necessarily what they're looking for when they're looking at students to work with, but more so they're looking for students who are passionate and motivated. And so definitely don't be discouraged if you don't have any previous experience. Professors are excited about the possibility with working with our undergraduate students. So let's say you do email a professor and you were able to get a response from them. They want to meet with you. Treat it like a job interview. Some professors are going to be a little bit more relaxed than others, and some will treat it a little bit more formally. So you definitely want to be prepared. Just the same as you would prepare for an actual interview for a job, you're going to want to prepare for this just so that you can seem engaged. And I would definitely recommend doing a little bit more research on them before you show up to your, we'll call it an interview, because sometimes they're not quite interviews, but before you're meeting with that professor. So, like I said, prepare. Be punctual. Definitely want to show that you care enough to be on time. Dress appropriately, whatever you feel is appropriate for that situation. Go ahead and use your best judgment. And also, once you're done meeting with them, you can follow up with a thank you email just to show them that you do really appreciate them spending the time to get to know you and to talk to you more about their work. So we're talking a lot, Sepper, about what professors are looking for in students and what they really want from their student researchers. Why do you think your faculty mentor chose to work with you?
Well, I would say one of my strong traits is being able to communicate. So I was able to express how passionate I am about learning new skills through research and going beyond the classroom content that I studied.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So something to keep in mind for when you all are talking to your possible faculty mentors. And a lot of our students will have, some doubts, like I mentioned before. Why would faculty want to work with me? Maybe I am an incoming freshman or an incoming transfer student. I don't have a lot of skills yet. I don't have a lot of experience yet. And we want to reassure you all that that is absolutely okay. Like I mentioned before, and as Sepper mentioned, professors are looking for passion, for curiosity, motivation. You definitely don't have to be an expert. You just have to want to work with them and, make sure that you can show them that you are invested in doing well under their mentorship. And remember, professors are people too. We want to definitely remind everyone that these professors, take a lot of pride in mentoring students and making sure that our next generation of researchers is well prepared and skilled in what they do, because at some point you all will be their colleagues and will also be a part of this community that they are working hard to improve and do good research in. So don't be afraid. They definitely want to work with you as much as you want to work with them. Now that we've gone over a little bit of what, securing an on-campus research opportunity can look like, I want to go over just generally what UROP can do for you during this process. So for those of us who are just getting started, UROP can definitely help with that through things like these information sessions. We do also have advising appointments, a lot of different resources on our website, as well as some different outreach activities that we have through our peer advisors and ambassadors like Sepper. So definitely come check us out. We do also support research in a variety of different ways, and mostly through our, again, advising by being able to kind of support students even when they're already doing research, but also by different grants that we offer at different times of the year. One of our popular ones being the Research Experience Fellowship, and our upcoming one, which you all I'm sure are excited to hear about, the Summer Undergraduate Research Program, which I will cover a little bit more in the next couple slides. And we can also help you share your research. So at the end of the year, in May every year, we have an annual research symposium, and that is something that we take great pride in hosting. So when you are done with your research project and you're ready to share it with everyone, we do provide that space for you all to share your research, both with your peers, but also, some faculty and other different types of corporate sponsors that come to watch everyone. And some even bring their faculty mentor, their research lab, maybe even family members to come see them present. So as I just mentioned, the Summer Undergraduate Research Program, this is going to be for those of us who secure on-campus faculty mentors and are doing research over the summer. So I do want to stress that you will need a UCI faculty to apply to SURP, which is what we call it, the acronym SURP being for Summer Undergraduate Research Program. I'll just go over some of the points here. It is a research fellowship for UCI undergraduate students, and it is aimed at students with some prior research experience. So you should have already secured a faculty mentor at that point, and you will be continuing research into the summer. Continue to be mentored by that same UCI faculty over the summertime. Typically, this will take about 10 weeks. Is not a hard deadline, but that's how much time you can expect to be working on this. These awards are expected to be approximately $1,500 per student, and it is a stipend given directly to students in support of their work. So basically just a stipend to kind of keep you afloat during the summer, kind of acknowledging that you all are working on research for these 10 weeks and helping to support that. Application this year is due April 5th, so definitely do check that out. And I want to go over some of the eligibility requirements as well. As I mentioned, you have to be a current UCI undergraduate student, but it does have to be at least through the fall of 2025. And like I said before as well, UCI faculty mentor is a must. You do have to have that already secured by the time that you are applying to SURP. There is a maximum of one individual application, and if you are in a group, you do have to apply separately. Just some general information about our application. And we do also have some proposal guideline workshops coming up, so definitely check our calendar for that. And I, at this point, want to transition over to our website so that I can show you all how to get this information later. All right, so we have our website here. You can find us at urop.uci.edu, but you can also just Google UCI Europe and we should pop up right there on Google. But to find that information for SURP, you can go ahead and go to Opportunities. You'll go to Europe Opportunities. And here you'll see all of the individual grants that we offered throughout the year. Today, we're just focusing on the Summer Undergraduate Research Program. You can go ahead and click on this right here, and it should send you right to the information that you're looking for. So here's all that information I mentioned beforehand, just giving you a little bit about what SURP is. Our deadline is going to be Friday, April 5th at 11:59 p.m. So please keep that in mind when you are filling out your application. Eligibility requirements are going to be right here for you. Some resources to help you prepare your application, just some general information, possibly also sample proposals right here so you can see what types of proposals have been awarded in the past. And these sample proposals, I'll go ahead and click on them, are also organized by school. So that is something that you can take a look at, just depending on what school you're in, what kind of proposal you might be writing. I do also want to note that you should refer to your faculty mentor for any specific types of like formatting with your proposal. They might have some preferences as to how you format that. But again, we will be covering all of this in our proposal workshops later on in the quarter. Then down here will be where you will submit your application. Right now, there is nothing there, but you should check back in on our website to definitely see when you can go ahead and click on that submission. I do also want to scroll back up because we are talking about summer opportunities. We do also have quite a few different off-campus opportunities that we'd like to share. So just to specify, Europe does not pair you with an off-campus opportunity, but we do have various resources to help you if you are looking for an off-campus opportunity. So if you want to look at some of those resources, you would just go to our website, go to opportunities, and then you can click that off-campus opportunities tab right there. And here are some different types of off-campus opportunities that you can take a look at. So some of them will be different university research programs. Others could be national research organizations. Others could be industry research opportunities. There are different kinds you can think of. Some are paid, some are unpaid. And it is going to take a little bit of research on your part, lots of internet searches, to find one that is going to be a good fit for you. So I'll go ahead and click on this link. And this is a document that was put together by Cal State Long Beach with a whole bunch of different opportunities that are currently active. So you can get the program name, what discipline they're in, eligibility requirements, program duration, whether it's funded or not, contact info, application deadline. This is a really, really great resource for anybody that's wanting to get started. This might get a little overwhelming, but I would advise you to just kind of comb through it at your own pace, look at some of the opportunities that are here and kind of get a good idea of what opportunities you might want to do over the summer, what your non-negotiables might be for an application, something to look through. So this just illustrating that UCI is definitely not the only place with resources for your off-campus opportunities. There are going to be other institutions that also have some resources, so definitely kind of look for the best ones that you can. We do also have this link for the National Science Foundation. And you can see that they're broken up by field. And so if you were to be interested, for example, in chemistry, like Sepher is, you might want to click on the chemistry tab. And you can see there's some site information, location, contact info. You can scroll through these and you can also see your results as different types of files. So all over the country, really, you can see Colorado, South Carolina, New York. Some of them might also be remote. So if that's something that you're looking for, definitely take a look at those. But that's just another resource for you. You can find a couple resources like that on here, or if industry research opportunities are something that you're really passionate about, there's a particular company or corporation that you're really interested in working with, go ahead and Google their summer opportunities and you might be pleasantly surprised. The one example we have here is for a Twitch engineering internship, which I know some of us might be very excited about. So some things to consider, just key terms to incorporate in your search here. Undergraduate research internships in, and then your field of study. Maybe summer research programs for undergraduates might be a good thing to Google. Just as you search, it will get more specific and you'll kind of be able to see what your own personal needs are. So we'll transition back to our slides now. All right, so I have another question for you, Sepper. How did you hear about SURP and what resources did you use when applying to SURP?
I found about SURP through email, as well as my professor. She recommended that I should do it if I wanted to continue my research during summer. I use the resources provided on the Europe website. We have a SURP proposal guideline as well as the samples proposals. We also have the Europe proposal workshops to help students write their proposals, as Anna mentioned.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much. So as Sepper mentioned, we do have a variety of resources coming up throughout the quarter. So definitely check those out. And I would recommend, having an advising appointment or stopping by our front desk if you have any questions about those. But you can also find the information on our website calendar. And back to those off-campus opportunities, these are just those same links that I highlighted on our website. So definitely go take a look at those. There is going to be something in there for everyone. So please just go ahead and take the time to search for those. If you do find a few and you're thinking, I need help figuring out what I need for this application, I'm really lost, you can also come to Europe for advising. We will ask that you send us those opportunities ahead of time so that we can review them and then kind of come up with the best plan for you to kind of attack those applications in a way that makes sense for you. I do also want to note that for these off-campus opportunities, some of them will ask for different things in their application. So some will need letters of recommendation from a professor maybe, or some will require you to send in your official transcripts. Others will require cover letters. Not every single one of these is going to ask for all of this, but it is good to just have maybe a resume, a cover letter, a letter writer kind of on hand in case you do need to submit these quite quickly. And if you need help determining what is necessary for your application, like I said, please come into Europe for some help and we can help determine what will be necessary for your application. I know Sepper also mentioned beforehand that his research mentor has been a great resource for those letters. So something to note is if you don't have a letter writer right now and you're maybe thinking of summer opportunities, now would be a great time to start networking and connecting with professors, even if it's just going to office hours, asking them about their work, letting them know that you're interested in research. It's going to build a really great foundation and they're going to be able to write you a much better letter for those summer research opportunities if that's something that you're looking to do. So what we're looking at here is a research roadmap. And I want to say that this roadmap is just a general template. It's going to look very different for a lot of people. Your path is not going to be the same as everybody else's, but here is just an example of what a research journey might look like in your time here at UCI. So you are at step 1. We are attending a workshop, an info session, and your next step right now is to find a topic that you like. We've already gone over how to do that with some of our resources, but again, you can always come into Europe for an advising session, and you can book those on our website if you ever have any challenges. So find a topic. Once you find a topic that you like, find potential faculty mentors. That's going to be using that faculty.uci.edu website, but also those departmental pages, possibly personal websites as well. Once you've done that, if you have any questions, if you're still not really sure where you're going with it, please come to Europe for advising. I know I keep saying that, but we are really happy to help with any questions that you might have. Once you have those potential faculty mentors, and we recommend you have about 3 to 5 of them when you're getting ready to reach out, you're going to go ahead and email them. So for those professors that you don't quite know or you don't have a relationship with just yet, you're going to email that faculty member. And we also have some resources on our website that I'll show in just a second so that you can find where we have an email template that you might want to use. And you are also welcome to send us your emails ahead of your appointment so that we can go ahead and help you edit them once you're here. So that's going to be your next course of action, something to keep in mind. So Sepper, I want to ask you any final words of advice for your fellow anteaters?
I would say please do when you do research, do something that you really like, because it's all about, again, enthusiasm, passion. Do what you're passionate about, and that'll make it worth your while. So yeah.
That was some great advice. Thank you. I definitely agree with you, Sepper. Doing what you love is going to make things a lot smoother on your end. And so I'll go ahead and show us on our website here. So if you look at our homepage, a couple resources that might be relevant for you all about Europe and Europe staff. This is where you will go to book that appointment. If that's what you would like to do, you can schedule a staff advisor appointment with one of us, one of our professional advisors. And then also back to our homepage for some more of those resources. If you scroll down on our homepage to that Getting Started box, you'll see both the faculty profile system that I mentioned beforehand and also Google Scholar if you would like to use that. But also that sample faculty email that I briefly mentioned. So if you are writing emails to professors and you need a little bit of help, here's a good template to use that we've put together here at Europe. It has worked really great in the past. And again, if you need any feedback, then go ahead and book an advising appointment so that we can help you with that. Let's see, going back up to the top, our calendar, here's where you can find information about our upcoming events. So here you can see our Get Involved series that we do, and then also our next proposal writing workshop. You can go ahead and register right here. If that's something that you're interested in doing, we'll go ahead and help you with figuring out how to write a proposal for SURP if that's something that you're interested in doing. Oh, sorry. All right. Just to finish up here, I'd like to share a couple of resources. First of all, we would love to hear your feedback. These presentations are for you all. And so if you have any feedback for us, something that you liked about the presentation, anything that would be helpful for changing the presentation, I definitely recommend that you go ahead and scan that QR code to give us some feedback. The Europe link tree over on the left here is going to be a great resource for you all. We've got a lot of different links to our link tree. And so you can also find some upcoming info sessions here. Like I mentioned, our Get Involved in Research. Our next one's going to be on January 24th. And those proposal writing submissions are going to be February 28th and March 7th. Our upcoming deadlines for some of our grants is the Summer Undergraduate Research Program, SURP, as I mentioned, that's going to be on April 5th. And if you were also looking to be a participant in Symposium, the date has not yet been set, but definitely come back to our website to find out more about that. It will be open in the spring for sure. We are located on the 5th floor of the Science Library if you'd like to stop by and come ask us any questions. But with that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I want to thank you all for being here with us today and for watching this. And I hope that you all come into Europe and get some more help with your research journeys. Like I mentioned, we would love to help advise you in any way that we can, and kind of point you in the right direction of those resources. But thank you also to Sepper for being here with us and sharing his experiences. Hopefully they were helpful, and we hope to see you soon.